Hello, friends. It's me, Mr. Proft, coming to you again from my kitchen here in sunny Santa Monica, California. And we're going to be talking about one of my favorite books today. The name of the book is Brave Irene. You should have read that, or you should have watched the read-along video for this last week. If you haven't watched the read-along video for Brave Irene, you might want to stop, go and watch that, and then come back to this lesson. Otherwise, there's going to be spoilers because we're going to kind of go over the story, and we're going to be talking about two things. We're going to be talking about the characters in the story, and we're going to be talking about the setting of the story, character and setting. Let me go ahead and share my desktop screen with you. Boop. And here we go. This is the cover of the book, Brave Irene. So again, we're talking about the characters and the setting in this book. Characters are the people who are in the book, the people who the story is about, the people that we see, the people that we hear. The setting of a book is where it happens, where it takes place. This is true about books and movies and TV shows. Like, for instance, if you're watching the movie Frozen, the characters in Frozen are Anna and Elsa and Olaf. The setting is the country of Arendelle, right? So characters are who the story is about. The setting is where the characters, where they are, where the places, where all this is taking place. So let's take a look. So in the first part of the book, we meet Irene. She's a little girl, and her mom, Mrs. Bobbins. And Irene is, of course, a little girl. Miss Bobbins, we find out, is a dressmaker, right? She makes dresses, and she has just finished this super duper fancy dress for the Duchess. And you might wonder to yourself, wait a minute, what the heck is a Duchess? I know what a princess is, I know what a queen is, but what's a Duchess? This is an actual Duchess. This is Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge, an actual person who actually lives in England, and that's her husband, Prince William, who is also the Duke of Cambridge. So a Duchess is a member of the royal family, a wealthy, super fancy person who lives in a palace. Duchesses are married to dukes, so a duke's wife is the Duchess. So a very fancy person, and look, here she is, even wearing a super fancy dress. Probably kind of looks like the one Irene's mom made, right? So imagine Irene's mom has just made a super fancy dress for a member of the royal family. And what happens? Well, Mrs. Bobbins is too sick. She's not feeling really well, so she can't deliver the dress. So Irene, who is super sweet, puts her mom to bed, makes a little tea for her. Let me see if I can get a better pointer here. Let me see if I can get a little bit better pointer so you can see where I'm pointing. There we go. So she puts her mom in bed, gives her some tea, and Irene packs up the dress, puts it in a box with some tissue paper, and without telling her mom, she sets out to deliver the dress. And we find out that it's actually really super cold, and it's really super windy, and it's really super snowy. So brave Irene, she's brave because all by herself, she sets off on this journey to go deliver the dress. And it's really super cold, and she's having a super hard time. The wind is blowing on her. And what happens? The box gets ripped out of her hand by the wind, and out of the box, the dress gets picked up by the wind, and it just disappears. And Irene, of course, feels absolutely terrible about that, right? She's very, very sad. And one of the things I think is interesting is she's sad for other people, right? She has empathy for other people. She's sad that her mom's hard work has been wasted, and she feels bad for the Duchess, who isn't going to get her fancy dress. So she feels bad for everybody except for herself, which I think is kind of sweet. So what should she do? Well, she decides that she needs to keep on going to get to the palace and to apologize to the Duchess and to explain what's happened and say, I'm sorry, I tried to deliver your dress. So she keeps going forward. Eventually, after a long, long walk, and she even twists her ankle, eventually she can see the palace. You can see the lights of the palace off in the distance. But then she falls into a hole, bump, and she disappears into this big snowy hole. And she's cold and she's tired. She manages to sort of dig herself out of the hole. And then this is kind of a fun part right here where she hops on top of the empty box. She sleds down the hill finally, in spite of the wind. And remember, she's going to apologize to the Duchess, and she feels bad that the dress is gone. But then, oops, did I skip one? Oh no, I skipped it. I skipped one. But she ends up, where's the picture? Oh, mercy, here it is. She gets to the bottom of the hill and she finds there's the dress. The wind has actually picked up the dress and blown it all the way to the palace. And it's there at a tree. It's like, whoa, it's kind of the happy ending, right? Amazing. The dress isn't lost at all. There it is. So she knocks on the door. She goes inside. And of course, there's the Duchess. Here's our Duchess. And her other servants and people, and she delivers, and she tells them the story of delivering the package, and they're like, wow, that's super cool, you're an amazing, thank you for doing that, boy, you're super brave, you managed to get through that storm and deliver the dress. And of course they make her a lovely dinner, and they sit her by the fire to warm her up. She gets to make this a little bit bigger. Can I make this bigger? Let's try making it a little bigger. There we go. So Irene gets to go to the ball, right? There's the Duchess in her fancy dress with all her, fancy rich friends. And Irene gets to go to the party too, because everyone's like really super happy and super proud that she was able to, despite everything, deliver the dress. She stays the night at the palace, and then the next day she's taken back to see her mom. And this was another character. This was, we only see him in this one little part of the story. He's the doctor. The Duchess has sent her doctor to go and to take care of Irene's mom and to bring her some lovely food. This was like a fancy spiced cake and some oranges and a pineapple. And this, in where they live, this would have been a very fancy gift to give somebody, because I don't get the sense that like this is a very tropical place. So they bring Irene, Irene's mom, some fancy food, and the doctor, and everybody is happily ever after. Yay, that was brave Irene. So who were the characters in this story? Well, we meet our first two characters right here, Irene and her mom, Mrs. Bobbins. Then the other character that we get a name for is the Duchess. So she is another character in the story. And the last character, who's only in a teensy-weensy little bit, but the doctor is another character in the story. So what's the setting? Where does this take place? Well, it takes place someplace cold. We don't know the name of this country. We're not sure where it is, but it's some cold country during winter. In the very beginning of the story, we're at Irene and her mom's house. In the middle of the story, we're off, in the forest. That's the setting right there, the forest. And then at the very end, we're in the palace. So those are really the three places where the story happens. Irene's house, the forest, and the palace. And then all together, the story is taking place in some country, not exactly sure where. But there you go. That's one of my favorite stories, Brave Irene. Now, you are not going to write about the weather at Irene's place today, but for your assignment today, you are going to go outside and observe the weather at your house, and using nice, high-quality words, try to write a sentence that describes what the weather looks like outside your house. You might want to also include a description of what clothes you could wear to feel the most comfortable outside. All right, so that's your assignment today. Observe the weather outside. Hopefully it's not snowy and windy like at Irene's place, but observe the weather outside, write a nice high quality sentence describing the weather and maybe what you could wear outside. If you need help spelling those words are all on our word wall. If you have any questions, go ahead, reach out to me or Ms. Dano. You know what to do. Better get to it. All right, Prof out.